Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fiction in Real Life. I'm here with Heather Moore and Jen Johnson, and I'm Jennifer Moore. And we haven't done this for a while, so I was just going to have everyone tell Heather, do you have any book news, like
Oh, yeah,
writing?
actually, my book news is I have a new book coming out really soon. It's called The Young Reader Adaptation of The Paper Daughters of Chinatown. It'll actually be a giveaway. So this is co-authored with Allison Hung Merrill. So we're getting ready to do some school visits this week. So that's going to be kind of a new
Oh,
experience for us.
Okay, and like she said, we're going to give that away to
Yeah.
someone that comments on this
can I
episode.
see it again? It was so fast I didn't get to
Okay.
look at it first.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. It's so pretty. Oh my goodness. That
Yeah.
cover is
So,
beautiful.
so if you read the original version, you can still read this version because it has a different main character in it.
Oh,
That's a
that
cool
looks
font,
neat.
isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I
Mhm.
love this whole thing. Well, good because I'll have to read it because the original was awesome. So, what would you say the difference is? It's just based. It's geared towards a younger audience, really,
Yeah.
right?
So the original version deals with issues with Chinese women coming over into America and then being forced into brothel work.
Mm.
And so this version is about a 6-year-old girl, and she was never in a brothel. She worked in a house and she babysat for the owner's kids, and but she was abused, and so that's why the mission home ladies in Chinatown, they came and they basically snatched her out of the home and took her to the mission home where she grew up and learned English and learned a lot of skills. She ended up in college. And this is obviously beyond the actual story. And her name is Tian Fu, and she worked at the mission home as well for the rest of her career. So it's kind of a cool full circle story.
So she was rescued. That's a cool,
Mm.
yeah, definitely cool.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you shared that. Cool. Makes me
Jen,
happy.
what about you? Do you have any book news?
Um, well, a little bit. I should next month. I have a book called The Widow's Return that has been on promo for free for a year and not really available for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to be launching it, so it's for sale. It will be a cheaper price. I'm not exactly sure what, but I'll let you know. It'll be up on Amazon in the next few weeks, maybe even next week, since it just occurred to me that it is April this coming week, right? So I will be launching that, and it's kind of it belongs in the same series as of To Win Her Hand, which is my man matchmaker kind of book, and yeah, so I'm excited. That'll come out this coming month.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then if you follow my author page on Facebook, I have that group. I've been trying to think of a name for my main character. He's been in all the other stories, but I realized everyone's just called him by his last name, and I don't know what first name to give him, so I'm doing like kind of a contest over there because
Oh,
it's got to
cool.
be good. It's
That's
got to be
fun.
a good name, but I'm out of ideas. I've
Yeah.
used up all the names. Anyway, so we were just going to start. I'll hurry and start with my story. So this is kind of what inspired this episode. Is I was reading this story about this crow, and I'm a bird lover, and I like to read about smart birds. And this crow was the man that wrote in. He just wrote it and put it on Reddit, and he was saying that he went to this taco place, like a Mexican food restaurant. It sounded like it was a fast food place, maybe like Taco Bell or something. And he was waiting in the line, and there were, some crows kind of in the parking lot and stuff. And one came up right by his car, and he could see something kind of shiny in its bill, and it kept dropping it and picking it up. And so he rolled down his window, and the crow like flipped it toward him and stuff. And it was like some money, like a coin. It was, a nickel or something. And he flipped it at him, and he said, "Taco." Like the crow, I keep saying he. I don't know if it was a she crow, but the crow said taco, and then picked up the coin and flipped it again. And he's like, obviously the crow wanted me to buy him a taco, so I did. And so, I thought it was such a cute, fun story. So what do you think about that, Heather? Would you ever book that amazing
I
story?
kind of like it because I think I would book it because how did the crow learn to say that? And is it like an escape crow? Is it a spy crow? Is it a changeling? Maybe a shapeshifter. So I don't know. I think it has a lot of potential. So it might be fun to kind of play with. Like I've never even thought about that kind of plot line.
What do you think, Jen?
I mean, I can't not book it. It's super cute. I have no idea how to include it in a story, but I think I actually like Heather's idea, but since she thought of it first and I can't even claim I went there, I would probably put him like as a side, entertaining part of a date to a taco stand or something. But yeah, I'd probably book it. Cute little
Yeah,
crow.
I would too. I just think it's so funny. He probably sat outside the drive-through and hears people say taco all the time and then sees him like give money to the people
Mhm.
and he's like, oh, I can do that. So I loved it. Heather, and you have a story for us.
Yeah, so my story's not cute or sweet at all, but it's another true story. And this took place, I'm not even sure what year it was. Oh, 1907. Okay. So there was, it didn't say, wasn't kind of a traveling animal show. It didn't say it was a circus, but it kind of sounds like a circus. And it was actually in Pittsburgh Park in Pennsylvania. And the traveling animal show, they had kind of a new lion that was a savage lion. So I'm not sure where they got it, but it ended up getting out of its cage. And so you have this huge crowd of 1,500 people that just are terrified. And this lion is out to get something. He's just vicious. He's probably panicked. He's scared. He wants to get away. He's maybe hungry, but he ends up attacking a few ladies, and one of them was a lady. I think she was about 64. Her name is Mrs. Anna Hewick, and she was injured badly enough that she ends up dying. But so that kind of is sad. But it's interesting that when I was reading about the chase through the crowds and the park policemen, so they weren't maybe the regular policemen that were super skilled. The park policeman was the first man. His name is W.A. Downey. He was the first man to the rescue. He fired at the lion. He ended up shooting 50 times into the lion until the lion actually died. So,
What?
So gross.
Oh my god.
so pretty crazy. And then they had the cage cleaner, the kid that was cleaning the lion's cage, and the lion escaped. Like they were trying to prosecute him and all this stuff. And obviously it's just a tragedy all the way around. But also you think of lions, they truly are wild animals. And if they're not born and raised in captivity, even sometimes wild animals or animals that are can kind of snap like this. But this one was, the director of the animal show said, yeah, it was a savage lion to begin with. And which meant that it hadn't been probably born and trained in captivity.
All right. So Heather, what do you think? Would you book it?
I wouldn't mind writing a story about a lion tamer or a circus. In fact, I have kind of a young adult story, kind of a shorter story I've written under my pen name Jane Red, but called The Orphan Circus. So I love that. I love that kind of the 1930s, 1940s, where the circus was this traveling show and just so many bizarre things happened centered around that. But I don't know if I'd tell this story. So I would probably just say no specific to the story because that's pretty intense.
What about you, Jen? What do you think?
I can't. It's too sad and hard. But I have read Heather's the beginning's part of her circus story, and I thought it was awesome. So she could handle the topic, but maybe not in the exact way.
But not the grandma.
I couldn't. I'd have to. You'd have to write the scene where the lion's going through 1,500 people and they're chasing this woman. I mean, I can't. But it makes a really good story to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I would book it. If I did, maybe it would just be something that someone kind of just tells, like, oh, a while ago, grandma got eaten here or something. But I mean, seriously, I don't want to write that story. And Jen, you have a story too.
I do. So it's about a Newfoundland dog. And these were, for a while, were my favorite. Look how cute he is. They were my favorite kind of dog. They're known for rescuing. St. Bernards and Newfoundlands are like the the cartoon dog that used to have the thing around its neck, and it was like the meme for a dog that would rescue. That's kind of made after a Newfoundland or a St. Bernard. But this dog, they have a saving instinct. And it was walking along by the river. It heard a child screaming and drowning, jumped in, rescued the child, And the town was all proud of him and excited. And they gave him a beefsteak, kind of like, good dog, you did good, and gave him a beefsteak. And so, but what happened is like everyone, they were grateful and it was done. But then like really shortly after, the dog rescued another child. And then shortly after that, the dog rescued another child. And the authorities and the parents were starting to get concerned. Is there some creepy predatory type person who's pushing our kids in the river? Like, why do we have all these drownings? Aren't we so glad this dog is rescuing the kids? And by the way, every single time they would give him a beefsteak. So you know where this is going. They researched a little bit further into why and what with the people falling in the river. And they ended up finding out, seeing him, what he would do is he'd go along looking for a kid playing close to the water, push them in, and then he'd jump in right after and rescue him and bring the child to safety. So anyway, there was an article written about it, and the three of us thought it was so funny and so quirky. It's fiction in real life. I mean, it just belonged on the show. So this is our cute little Newfie. That's the actual picture of the dog, and super proud of
Does it say the dog's name in the article? I don't know. I don't know why that makes it more important, but anyway.
Hold on. I can scroll through. I don't remember seeing it, but
I don't know either. So Heather, would you book it, that story of the dog?
I think it's really funny. So I would probably book it because lately, like, I feel like the kind of the rom-com books of any rom-com I've written, like the last couple of years, I've included a pet, because I found when I've read stories, especially contemporary, and they have a pet, like it just kind of brings a character out more, and you feel like, the character is more human and you feel connected, and the dog can be up to different antics. So I really like it. So I would think I would book it.
What about you, Jen?
Very clever.
Yeah, I totally would. Such a cute dog. I love Newfies anyway. In fact, my mom is writing a book about a Newfoundland. So they're like one of our dogs we like. I can't have them in Texas because they're so thick. Their fur is really oily.
No, they would be hot.
Yeah. But yeah, so I definitely would book the life-saving dog that was smart and started pushing kids in.
So cute. Yeah, me too.
And I looked up too. Sorry,
you got his name.
They didn't say his name. They call him Hero Dog in quotes, but they don't have a name for him. So
I would book it. I think it's just so funny. I love dogs, and I love it when animals act kind of humanish, or they try to figure something out and they do it a little bit funny. Anyway, so remember we have our giveaway, the Paper Daughters of Chinatown, the Young Readers edition, for a commenter. And don't forget to write in your stories. We love the stories. The lion one was a story that was sent into us, and it's fun to read them and to see what people think we should put on the show. So make sure you send in your wilder than real life stories, and come back and see us next time on
Fiction in
Real
Life. Bye, everyone.